Alrighty, folks, just further evidence that we listen to the audience. If you watched the Daily Financial News a couple of days ago, we released an article with Meredith Whitney talking about single men playing video games is going to be the downfall of society and lead to a 30% housing crash. I must have had a dozen comments saying, please ask Dion. So guys, let me just welcome you to the show. And before you respond, I want to make sure I show the article so we can go from there. But before then, Matt, how you doing?
I'm doing super awesome. I love me some Meredith Whitney. I've been watching her on CBNBC for probably 25 years.
Yeah, she has. She's been around for a while, but she's made some good calls and some interesting calls. But Dion, how you doing, man? This article really, this one hits close to home, man. Video games is like your stick.
So I want to point out that in this conversation, any anger that is incited should be directed at Dion Talk Financial Freedom. Go to my channel. Don't attack Mike for things I say during this video because first, I've never seen CNBC. I'm guessing that's not a sports channel.
No, it's a business channel.
I'm well-rounded, Dion.
There you go. I have some strong opinions on this, and I can't wait to get into the conversation.
All right. Well, very cool. Let me get it all set up. I will bring up the actual article. It's on Fortune and Yahoo and all of that. So here we go. I just had to get it ready. Here we go. So Dion and team, hopefully you can see this now. Is that correct?
Yep.
So the Oracle of Wall Street expands why the crisis of the American male, it's always the guy's fault. It's just always the guy's fault, will send home prices crashing 30%, gaming, rampant loneliness, and not enough single women home buyers. So Dion, the whole article is here. I'll put the link in the description below. But yes, apparently single men playing video games will lead to a 30% crash in real estate. What say you?
Well, now that I've seen the rest of the title and it's not enough single women buying homes, I see that it's not gender specific. So first off, it's a crash, bro. Home prices crashing 30% when we don't have enough supply. I'm sorry that you guys choose to watch a news channel that has somebody that has no clue what they're talking about. Mm-hmm. You can't have a housing crash without forced sellers. We don't have forced sellers. There is a ton of pent-up demand, right? We see that if interest rates drop, it spikes. We have Beth Traverso getting people making over asking price offers still in her market with very limited supply. This is happening in a lot of markets. And yeah, there might be some small areas where there's some adjustments, but a 30% crash, Mike, how long did it take for the last 30% crash to happen?
5 years.
5 years, right? Because the largest single year drop was 8.9%. And this is a call for a 30%. So it's ridiculous on a few levels. Now, here's the things I'll say that will make sure that people get angry at me, not Mike. This is me saying this. Mm-hmm. Men aren't single because they're gaming. And single women are one of the largest groups of home owners right now. I think women own more homes than men when you look statistically of single people. So
if you look single to single, females own more homes. That is correct.
Right. So single women own more homes. And the article's headline says, the clickbaity headline says, there's not enough. Well, if there's already more than there are men, and maybe they're 51% of the population. I don't know what the statistics were there, so I don't know if it balances out or not.
I think it's 51 women, 49 men.
There you go. And so here's the thing that will irritate people. The more educated a society becomes, the less children they have. The less children we have, the less families we form. So the less formed families means less households. So yes, there will be less demand for housing going forward. I see that can be an issue in 50 years, right? Not in now terms, but in 50 years. And the idea of that they're single and gaming because they're lonely, that's not true. They're single and gaming because they're smart. Here's the thing I'll irritate, and you guys are both married. You guys won the lottery of finding a spouse that didn't ruin your life, or 4 of them. But someone name me the benefit in the comments below, directed at me, not Mike or Matt. Name the benefit for marriage for a guy, right? Because I'm going to name some things here, just really quick. Think these through. Alimony, palimony, child support, welfare, Section 8, food stamps, BFET, child daycare subsidies, state medical, everything I just named. I never mentioned gender, but who were you thinking of receiving those? We live in a wealth redistribution system, and Millennial Mike would love me for saying this, but there is no benefit to a man in getting married anymore because and this is me, again, hate me, not Mike. Women want a traditional man, but they don't want to be a traditional woman. So now you lose the benefits of marriage to men. So we aren't going to have families forming as much. And again, this is a 30 to 50 year problem from now, not something that's impacting us now.
Yeah. Yeah, you can see that while the headline may have given you some comfort, I was highlighting while you were talking. She was definitely going after the single guy playing video games, talking. She's basically saying video games have gotten so good that they have no interest in having sex, and men haven't had sex in over a year in this article. So
here's the statistics on that. Here's what ruined the sex lives of young Americans. It's not video games. It's the smartphone. So in 2009, when the dating apps came out, so you have 2 rows of people, picture men and women, and and we'll just rate them based on sexual market value, right? So for men, it's generally 6 feet tall or higher, physical fitness, income, right? And so the higher you are, no, the looks I'm sure play into that somewhere. And for men with women, it is physical appearance. Men have never said, how much do you make? That is not a question we ask. And we're not allowed to ask, how much do you weigh? But every dating app literally has a height thing.
Yeah.
So you have the majority of women can pursue the 1% man. If you actually go through the statistics of what a woman wants, and you go, who's over 6 feet tall? Who makes over 6 figures? Who is not 20 to 30 pounds overweight? It goes down to 0.06% of the American population meets the metric.
Yeah.
So
it's actually pretty funny because when I look at this, and I read a lot of data, right? I'm the economist in the group. I actually think this is a complete red herring. Because I actually think what's going on when you look at specifically Gen Z, I don't know millennial data, but I know Gen Z data. If you look at Gen Z data today, women are making more money than men. Age for age, job for job, right? We have all this historical data about income equality, but when you go back to Gen Z and look at college educated women, they're now making slightly more than the men of similar ages. So what I actually think's going on, and I think Chesla actually brought this up in our text thread. I actually think what's happening is single women are choosing to stay single longer, right? My parents, got married as teenagers. I got married as a teenager. My daughter's now 31 and has no interest in getting married. She makes her own money, doesn't need it, lives in a house, right? She does have a live-in boyfriend. But my daughter sees no interest in getting married. She doesn't want kids. She doesn't, she's college educated. So I actually think this is Meredith Whitney attacking men or hating on men, when in reality, we are starting to see, at least in the younger generation, more income equality. And with income equality equals more options, right? My mom, when she got married, was a stay-at-home mom. She had to have a husband who made money, or she'd live with her mom and dad. It's I think that's what's going on. Is I think women have more options. I don't think it's freaking video games. I mean, that's an asinine thing.
Well, if we take the income thing, follow through to the education part, right? We take, when we were kids, we had a playground with 30-foot tall tire things that you climbed on. And if a kid fell, you were like, oh, that sucks. Now they take all that out because of lawsuits, right? So we take men who were basically driven by testosterone. We force them to sit in a classroom and we say, oh, you can't act normal. Here's some Ritalin.
Yeah.
Or Adderall or whatever they're giving them nowadays. And then we go to college and look at the environment that college is. And you wonder why more women go to college than men.
Yeah.
It is a, I hate the word, toxic environment for men. You are absolutely not allowed to do anything that a guy considers normal in college. So why would guys go to college? They don't. So now you have, generally women want somebody who makes more money, who is taller, who is fitter, right? So in that sentence, that means that women want a man who wants somebody who is shorter, fatter, makes less, is less than in every way possible. Nobody's processed it to that step.
Yeah.
So yes, people are going to have less and less relationships as we become more and more educated. Both sides, men and women.
Both sides. Yeah.
I've got 2 daughters. What's the motivation for them to get married when we have a society that says, now both of them have no plans on having kids, And but we live in a society that says, okay, so if you have a kid, here's all of these benefits, all of this wealth redistribution that can be yours, as long as you're not married. Now, if you go get married, we're gonna take all that away. Right. So we subsidize single mothers, right, and probably single fathers too. So it's both ways. People can have an easier life if they're not, and as a part of a couple. As a couple, you have to actually be hard workers, motivated, work together, be a team, and that doesn't sound fun to a lot of people.
Yeah. Well, Matt, you've been a little bit quiet here. This is obviously right in Dion's lane, but what do you think about first kind of the call that the quality of video games is so high that it's going to cause, I mean, can you make that leap to 30% housing crash because of video games?
No, I mean, I think she probably isn't. I mean, unless she's counting, porn for there. I mean, let's
Didn't
face
sound
it.
like it.
It's never been more accessible than it is now.
Right.
There's much less stigma around it, i.e., the girl around the corner has an OnlyFans account with, it's making 30 grand a month, right? So it's like you can have the girl next door. She's probably on OnlyFans.
Yeah, exactly.
So what it's done is it's dropped the bullshit to money ratio. It's upset the ratio, which was, like Dion said, is being married easy? No. Does it have its benefits? Absolutely.
Name one.
I love my wife.
Hang on, since the start of the video, I keep saying, name a benefit to marriage, and you guys lucky, you won the lottery. Name a benefit to marriage.
Yeah, so for me, the benefit for me is in raising a family and working collaboratively and raising those kids.
I raised 3 kids by myself. Millennial Mike's raising one by himself. You don't need a partner to do that. The benefit of marriage, name one.
I just gave it to you. It's harder. What you did was much harder doing it by yourself. It was
much easier. I've never had an argument over how long a kid's hair is going to be, how old they were when they pierce their ears.
But we can all agree your people picker's broken. So you're 0 for 4. So my only argument for that is that there are tons of happy married people.
I've never met one.
I know. In your circle, I mean, you work with 2 every week.
No, I'm talking about.
I was going to say.
So.
Are you saying I'm not happy? Did you just say that? You said you haven't met any happily married people?
I'm trying to figure out how to say it without being insulting. I've said you guys won the lottery, right? There are people who fall out of an airplane and don't die. It's possible.
Sure.
But let's go statistically. What are the odds that people end up like you guys who have loving, supporting spouses versus the hundreds of people that I've met? And I know you, and you're watching me on this video right now.
You know what, folks? Instead of debating
miserable and complain about everything about their spouse all the time to everyone that they know.
Yeah, so I think that.
Oh, hold on. People complain about everything every day. I know lots of single people that complain also. That's kind of
obviously. Here's the thing, Zub. They're not coming to the counter and saying I'm lonely.
Yeah, that's true.
Because they're not being honest. Like there's plenty of people that are plainly lonely. If you look at the statistics, that's the biggest.
I don't want this to turn into a value of being marriage discussion.
No,
that's
so I think
that's why I said hate my channel.
Go to Dion.
I think from my perspective, I think the value for me in being married is I have a mate that hopefully I have for life, and that we get to raise the kids together and we get to create a lot of memories together. I get it. If she was horrible, I wouldn't be with her, and that would Dion's option is far better. If she were horrible, Dion's option is far better. But how it equates to the housing thing, I believe, is that it's never been easier to be single. It's never been easier.
Yeah, that's where I want to go with this.
Yeah,
because because Meredith Whitney, in my opinion, she studies demographics, and as Dion kind of pointed out earlier, demographics take decades to play out.
Absolutely.
So,
but we're seeing that Chinese daughter thing, right?
Oh no, no. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that was on for 30 years. Absolutely.
Exactly.
Right?
So that was on for 30 years. So now we're starting to see that, right? So people are going to have a very new lesson in their head, right?
Yeah.
Because they're seeing the decline.
But when we talk about demographics,
yep,
we talk about people being single longer, men and women.
Sure.
I look at that going, you guys are Meredith, you're missing the boat. At some point, these single people will want to get out of their parents' house and buy a home. So what will happen in the future, Meredith, is you will have more single people buying homes. They will make their own money. They won't. Why are more single women buying homes today than men? Because they're making more money than they ever made before. That's what happens in Gen Z. When you make more money, you eventually buy your own property. So unlike Meredith, who thinks this is going to be the demise of housing, and a 30% crash, I'm like, holy cow, you're missing the point. You're
Right.
actually going to have more single people buy homes, which will increase demand. Now, here's the problem. As a single individual, it will take you a couple of more years to save for the down payment, right? Because if you do have a partner, I would argue, and it's truly working together, it's easier to save the down payment, share expenses, do all of those things. So that is why I actually think Meredith missed it, because if you zoom out a couple of years, demand's going to go up, not down, because
buyers.
more single individuals, man and women, will be buyers.
What changes is the asset that they're buying.
Correct. Smaller.
Correct. Now it's going to be the 1,200 square foot and smallers. It's going to be, and it's going to be a lot of probably 2-bedroom homes.
It could be, yeah.
Like 1,000 square foot 2 bedrooms instead of 1,100 square foot 3 bedrooms, right?
If I was a builder, I would be going right to that. Absolutely. Smaller footprints. That's what's coming.
Well, the key is that can you do that in an economical way? And that's the thing, is that's where I think that, all the time I get asked, why am I not becoming a developer? It's because I've got other guys with a 30-year head start on me.
Yeah, it's like,
all the systems, people's processes in place and contracts in place. And the only thing is, here's where I beat them: technology. And that's where I'm going to beat them. So the issue is bringing an actual asset to market that is far more appealing to a 25-year-old, because they don't need a $500,000 house that's 3 beds and 2 beds.
Do you want to know why that San Antonio 661 square foot thing sold out in like a weekend? I'm being a little bit exaggerated. I think it was 6 weeks or whatever.
Close, it was fast.
It's because single people were buying a home. You're not going to buy a 661 square foot, with 2 people and a kid. Nope. It's going to be a single person.
Yep.
So
build that product.
The number one killer of the option of house hacking is my spouse isn't on board.
Of course. Damn spouses. You know what, folks? We're going to get off this topic, but I do want to leave the audience with an option, because I know Dion will look at these comments. What is the benefit of being married? Go.
If I could add one caveat there. Okay. I'm not saying don't be in a relationship. I'm just saying don't hate somebody so much you have to get the government involved. I've been with Chesla for like 10 years. Best relationship I've ever had in my life. Yeah. She's got a few other boyfriends. I don't care. I don't need to own her. That's the thing that confuses everybody. We don't need the government to be involved to say it's a relationship. Matt, you and Ashley are great. Take out the marriage papers. You still have everything you have.
Still great.
Be able to raise the kids. You still have an awesome relationship. It's the benefit to marriage I have the problem with. And that only is going to help the people who made it this far in the video that didn't stop earlier to put all hate comments because of everything I said 5 minutes ago. When everyone understands that when you make a video, we disagree sometimes on purpose, so it's not an echo chamber. I literally took the contrarian view so people could hear the other side. But still come at me. I'm okay with that. Yeah, folks, leave it below. Matt, where can they find you?
On a happy channel of a married man, Lumberjack Landlord, on YouTube and Instagram.
Love you both.
Yeah. All righty, Dion. Again, folks, comments below. I'd love to hear what people say. What's the benefit of being married? Thanks, guys.